YouTube, Prepared Wander Out in the Woods today, and we're going to take a look at an emergency shelter system that I carry with me in most of my packs. This thing is compact, it's easy to set up, and it's going to keep you dry, and that's really the whole point of having an emergency shelter system on your person, is that something that's going to maintain your body temperature so you can keep rain off of you and then not go hypothermic if you end up getting cold. So this thing is inexpensive, it's easy to set up, doesn't take up a ton of room, and with a few add-ons it can be a nice shelter that you can actually do several overnights in comfortably. And it's just a multi-use item, so I want to show you what this thing is. Alright, so today we're going to look at the Bushcraft Outfitters Mest Tarp. And what's nice about this tarp is that it's only a 5x7 piece of nylon, so it doesn't take up a ton of room in your day pack. I mean, you can really, if you really want to, you can get this thing down to a smaller package if you need to. It's 1.9 ounce 70D taffeta nylon. Has, I believe, 9 tie-out points on it. 5x7, like I said. Just a really nice lightweight shelter that can keep you dry and help maintain that important body temperature if you're caught unexpectedly overnight. And it's also a nice multi-purpose item because it's something you can throw on the ground and use as a ground tarp. A lot of different uses for a small tarp like this, and I'm going to set this thing up and then we're going to kind of talk about the features of it and then just how I have mine configured and how I have mine all set and ready to go. One thing that this tarp does not come with is lines or stakes, so that's something you're going to have to add on your own, and that's kind of one reason I do like this is because it's something I can customize myself and I can make it my own and I can add my own features to it. So the first thing I would do is go out and get a set of lightweight stakes. These are titanium. Purchase them on eBay. They're not very expensive. They weigh, of course, hardly anything, very small, and it just saves me time for having to carve a stake when in the field, because if you really need to get something set up quickly because it's starting to downpour or rain is coming in, you don't want to spend time fooling around with fashioning stakes. So why not just carry a lightweight set? Another thing is I have all my guy lines already tied out and ready to go. That's another emergency kind of thing that you want to do. They're set up, ready to roll. I don't have to fool with tying knots. And on mine, what I've done is I've pre-tied loops on the ends of these, and then put a piece of shrink tubing around that knot to help secure it, also help keep debris and moisture from getting in there. It just helps keep it nice and tight where it's supposed to be. And there's a loop tied on each end of the cordage. Now this cordage is Kevlar line. I got this from I got this from 5 Call Survival Supply. They carry this stuff. It's really nice stuff. What I like about it is it's very lightweight and thin, extremely tough, and the yellow color is nice and bright in the woods, so it's something you can actually see, and it doesn't become a tripping hazard once you set up your shelter. So another thing I added to this kit is a pre-tied ridge line, and the ridge line on this actually is split in two, so I just have to tie off to each point on the end of the tarp. And what I selected to use are these Night Eyes cams. They're very quick and easy to set up. You clip these to the tarp and then you can adjust the length. Now what you do is, and I'll show this when I'm setting this thing up, so what you do is you wrap this around the tree, pass this through. That goes around the tree. This end clips to your tarp, and now you can very quickly adjust the length by pulling on this tag end, and then the cam will lock onto itself and tighten. That way you don't have to fool with any knots. the reason that I put these in this kit is because they're easy to use. Anybody can set them up. So if there's somebody in my group with me who doesn't know how to tie knots, who doesn't know how to set up a tarp real easily, it's something that I could talk them through very quickly and easily. All right, so the last part of this kit that you need, and I think is really important, and sometimes is overlooked, I think, by a lot of people, is having something that's going to keep the moisture off your body from the ground. And a good Mylar blanket like these, it's a great way of keeping the moisture from coming up through the ground onto you. And that's the other part of the equation. You need to keep the rain off of you, but you also need to keep the dampness from the ground coming up. And I like these reflective blankets because they're very inexpensive. They're easy to repair. This one I've had for quite a while, and as you can see, if I want to repair it with duct tape, I can. It's pretty easy to do. There's another repair I need to make. But also it has the reflective side, and I set up the reflective side facing up, and I'm going to show you that too, because that helps actually reflect heat back up towards me while I'm laying on it. Alright, so what I've done is I've hung one end of this shelter just a little bit lower than the other end. That way, if there's rain, there's going to be a little bit of a natural runoff going down towards the end. And here's these cams in use. The line goes up here and just passes through this loop. Very easy to set up, quick. I mean, under a couple of minutes to set this part of the tarp up. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about real quick are these loops. I think a lot of people are under the misconception that these loops, webbing loops on tarps, are a bad idea. That they're going to rip out, or they're somehow not as strong as a grommet or a D-ring. I have found, and I've been using Bushcraft Outfitter tarps for a very long time, since they started. I had one of the original tarps, and those things are still going strong. The sewing on these things is done very, very well. And this is not going to pull out, this is not going to fray. It's very durable. And if you take care of your equipment, keep it clean, keep it out of the dirt, watch contact spots and wear points, you'll be fine. And this is why I have a pre-tied loop for this end. Because what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pass this through. There's the loop. I'm going to take the end of it and go back through. And you're just creating a hitch. And with these webbing loops on these tarps, very simple to do. Alright, there it is. Done. This is why I like these Mylar blankets, because it's reflecting the heat, my body temperature, back up at me. Also, it provides a little bit of extra ambient light inside the shelter, because the sun is reflecting off of this and making it a little bit brighter in here. Now, one thing I do with my Mylar blankets is I tie a couple little loops on the end, so if I do want to stake these out with a stick when I get to my spot, I can. That helps, and that just helps maintain the shape of the tarp on the ground, because because if you're sleeping on this thing, you know, you tend to roll a little bit and you may end up moving it around, but that'll keep it stationary. And tarp camp, I'll actually use the same setup with this Mylar blanket, even for a weekend trip. So it works great. It provides a nice, dry, clean floor to your shelter, and it'll help maintain your body temperature a little bit more too. So when it's all said and done, the price for this kit, this tarp is, I believe, around $29. These Mylar blankets, I think at Walmart and other sporting goods stores, are probably around $12 or $13. The titanium stakes you'll have to price out. I bought mine on eBay. Like I said, they came from China, so they were very cheap. They're like $7 shipped or something like that. And then the cordage, it just depends on what kind of cordage you want to use. Of course, I'm using Kevlar line, and I'm using the Night Eyes cams and the reflective line for the ridge line. So, you're still probably in the neighborhood of a $50 shelter. I know a lot of people say, well, that's still too expensive. I'm just going to carry the grabber blanket as a shelter. And that's fine. I mean, you can certainly do that. I just don't think it's as durable and is going to last as long as a dedicated nylon tarp. And these Bushcraft Outfitter tarps are fantastic. They're just very well built. Definitely a great investment for a lightweight shelter kit to throw in your day pack and not worry about it. And it's nothing to set this thing up. So anybody could do it in a pinch, and that's the whole point of it. So here's a look at the extra tie-out points. So we've got a point there, and then there are 2 more in the center of the lengthwise part of the tarp. So that's let's see, 4, 8, 9. There's 10 tie-out points on this tarp. So if you have like an extra hunk of 550 cord, then you wanted to bring this side of the shelter down a little bit more. If it was really storming out, you could do that. You can certainly lower the shelter more if you need to make it even more rainproof, keep the wind off of you. But there is just tons of room in this shelter for such a little tiny tarp. Alright guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, share, and make sure you hit that little bell icon down below. That way when new videos come up, you'll be notified and you won't miss anything. Also, if you want to learn more about Bushcraft Outfitter tarps, go to their website, bushcraftoutfitters.com. If you want to purchase the Kevlar cordage, go to 5 Call Survival Supply. They have some. And if you want to learn more about tarp shelters and how to set them up, go to my friend Terry Barney's YouTube site, Iowa Woodsman. He is a master at setting this stuff up. He's a SEER instructor and works for 88 Tactical, and is also with the Omaha Fire Department, I believe. And he just knows a lot of stuff. He's a really great guy, and you will learn a ton on his channel. So check him out. All right, guys, we'll see you next time on The Prepared Wanderer.